hearse. These unplanned modes of transportation can be a costly choice and do not take you home. Your plan could include a designated driver, a taxi, or public transit. Drink responsibly, choose your ride, and have a plan for a safe ride home.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
This is a man's heart, a heart in desperate need of medical attention. But because 78% of Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, he may not get the help he needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel. I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guests. I'm joined by two fantastic individuals. We will have Kristen Murray from the Newfoundland Federation of Cooperatives joining me, as well as Courtney Clarke, who is the 2023 Human Rights Award winner for Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as many other awards I can't wait to share with you. So sit back, relax, and we'll be right back in this episode. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Kristen Murray, who is the project specialist for the Newfoundland and Labrador Federation of Cooperatives. Kristen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Laurabel.
I'm so excited to have you here because you and I have gotten to know each other a little bit in the not-for-profit sector and the community sector. But I want our audience to get to know what the Newfoundland and Labrador Federation of Cooperatives actually is. So I guess we'll start there.
Yeah.
What is your organization and what do you guys do?
Yes, it's a great question. So the NL Federation of Co-ops, or the NLFC, we'll shorten it, has been around for almost 75 years. We're going into our 75th year this year, which is very exciting. And we've been supporting and advancing the cooperative sector of the province over that time. And it's really important that there be an association that is focused on, training and education around the cooperative model, supporting the cooperatives that exist in our province and helping develop new ones as well. So that's what our organization kind of does in a nutshell, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Yes.
So for viewers who might not know, what is a cooperative? I guess is a good place to start.
It's the best way to start, yes.
Okay. So what's a cooperative?
Yeah, so a cooperative is, there's so many ways to describe it, and depending on who I'm talking to, it often changes, but really it's a form of business and social enterprise, and it's a democratically owned and operated, member-owned and operated business, and they're based on values that range from a democratic member control to voluntary and open membership to concern for community. They're really at the heart of what a social enterprise really is, and you can incorporate as a not-for-profit or a typical business, you can also incorporate as a cooperative. And so they're usually made up of more than 3 people, and all members have one member, one vote in the decision-making of the organization.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess my first introduction to a cooperative would be like the food co-ops that I've seen and the grocery store style thing. So those would operate around the same structure as any other cooperative, correct?
Exactly. I can give some examples. So the food co-ops that you mentioned, those are consumer cooperatives. So what that means is, you can, go into those stores and purchase, just like any other grocery store, but if you were to be a member, you would get additional benefits. So not only would you get discounts discounts and potentially rebates at the end of the year if the business is successful. But you would be actively able to participate in the organization's meetings, bring resolutions forward. If you're not happy with the way the organization's being run, you have a say there. So that's what the real difference is there is. So that's one example. There's so many others. There's also the farmers market that's based in here in St. John's. Not many people know it's a cooperative, even as a consumer, you can participate in that organization in the St. John's Farmers Market. All the vendors are members and who have a voice and who can participate. They can run for the board and participate there, or just as a member can, bring issues forth, and they have to be listened to in a cooperative. Like they're run for and by members. So yeah, it's really interesting model, and really it exists in any sector or industry that you can think of, everywhere from childcare to housing to arts to food, anything. Like it's really powerful because wherever you are in an industry or in a place or with a group even of community members, you can start thinking about what shared gaps you see in your environment and work together to change them democratically, which is very cool.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
So is that what inspired you to get involved with the NLFC?
Yeah, I have been really interested in social enterprise for a really long time. I did a bachelor's of commerce and just always felt like the social side of what business can do, advancing social and economic goals was always really interesting to me. And when I came across the cooperative model of social enterprise and business, it just stuck out to me because I feel like it's not often talked about, and I didn't learn about it in my in university, or school at all, and had to kind of come about it in my personal life. And it, again, really stuck out to me being very unique, and just felt like, given the examples around me that showed that this model really does work for community, wanted to get more involved. So I did my Master's of Business and Social Enterprise and did my internship at the NLFC last summer, I think. Yeah, it feels like time is flying by so fast. But and so I've been, I guess, in one capacity or another, I'm now working full-time at the NLFC for over a year at the NLFC, and I'm very, very happy to be here and to be getting the word out more about this model that I'm so passionate about, and seeing the possibilities that are beginning to emerge, for sure.
That's so cool. Yeah. So speaking of getting the word out, I know that NLFC is running a program that launched pretty recently. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the internship I mentioned was all around this idea of what is a cooperative incubator. They exist other places in the world, and I was aware of what the incubation model looked like from a traditional business standpoint. But I wanted to investigate what it would be like to incubate or, provide very specific, customized support, structured support for new co-op enterprises here in the province, and led by the NLFC. So that was my project, and then we worked to get funding to pilot that program. And so last August, we finally got that funding, primarily from ECOA and the Department of Industry, Energy and Technology, which is amazing. And then, ever since, we've been working towards getting this launched. So we just put out the applications, and now that it is closed now, so the application period is closed. But keep an eye out for it, I would say, because we're going to be accepting 5 groups, and we're going to see what they're going to do, and we're going to help them go from their idea to incorporating a new cooperative. So, we will have 5 new co-ops developed in this province this year, at least, and we want to see many, many more. So after the pilot is done, we'll begin planning for the next iteration, the next stage. What will it continue to look like? Right now, it's only for the Northeast Avalon region to start, but I want to see this offered all places in the province, and to see a lot of applications, and to really, grow more capacity for us to support, because I really believe that, these people that are coming forth even now, we need to grow capacity to help them. We're such a small team, and capacity for cooperative development is underdeveloped in the province right now. But we're working towards getting that to a place where we can, anyone in the province, in any corner at any time, knows where to go to get the support and get the information, and also can work with people, ideally in their region, to start their co-op. So that's the vision going forward in the future. Yeah.
See, that's an amazing vision. And I know applications have closed for this round of funding. But let's say viewers are watching now and they're like, okay, this round is closed, but there might be another one. What would you like them to start thinking about if they might be interested in a future round of funding? So for the people watching and listening, I might have an idea. What are the preliminary things I would need before applying?
Well, first, you need 3 people to start a cooperative, to incorporate a cooperative. So I would definitely recommend, if you have an idea and you don't have at least 3 people, start to try to talk to people about your idea and get people on side with you. And then I would definitely say reach out, because at any point we're able to help new co-ops. This is just a specific program we're testing at the moment, but that does not mean that we're not going to still continue to support people wanting to start new co-ops. So please still reach out and talk to us, and we can make connections with you. Whatever the needs are. If you're looking for more education, that's what we're here to do any time of the year. So I would say do that. But yes, the hope definitely is to continue to offer the program all year round and things like that. So yeah, we want to know who's interested out there. So if you are, please let us know, and we'll help you get started, or get the seeds planted, I guess.
That's fantastic. Question, what has been the reception that NLFC has had from the rest of the community sector and community at large?
About the program, you mean?
About the program and just your existence as a whole.
Yeah, that's true. It's been really phenomenal. I feel like we're kind of entering a new era. The NLFC community has felt like we're definitely entering a new space, and I think it has a lot to do with the changing atmosphere out there. People are recognizing that we can't just wait for things to change, that we want changed anymore, and people are seeing more opportunities in the community sector, the social enterprise sector, and the cooperative sector to get things done on their own terms. And I think that's amazing. So I think it's just a really great time to put these opportunities out there, to give people chances to make things happen and provide more support, because out there are so many people just busting with ideas and challenges that they want to address, but don't really know how to start. And I just think that this is a great option for a lot of people, and they really should know more about it.
Awesome. Yeah. So I got just one more minute with you. What would you like our audience to know about NLFC? So just as they're looking throughout and they're beginning to formulate ideas of potential co-op situations in their community, what would you like them to know about how your organization can support them?
Well, yeah, like I've said, I just feel that if you're experiencing any challenge that others are too, why not come together and tackle it, united? Because alone, there's not as much power that we have in relation to coming together and sparking more. So I would just say, take a look around, and if you have a vision that is shared by others, let us know about it, and we can help you maybe assess whether the co-op model is a good fit for you. And it's very exciting. So take a look around too, and then get to know the co-ops in your region and your area. And I mean, it's a beautiful model, a beautiful time to start thinking more cooperatively in general.
Perfect. So we can find you guys' website and social media?
Yeah.
And email as well?
Yeah.
Perfect. Kristen, thank you so much for coming to chat with me. Thank you for sharing about what a co-op actually is for people like me who are just learning about it, and just the beauty of having an incubator like that in a community. It's been amazing chatting with you.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to introduce our next guest to you. She is the 2022 Women Executive Network Top 100 Most Powerful Women in Canada Award winner. She's the 2023 Human Rights NL Award winner, a close and personal friend of mine, and the president and vice chair of the Equal Voice NL, the one, the only, as far as I'm concerned, Courtney Clarke. Courtney, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here because
I'm so excited.
I've gotten to know you in the real world. I've creeped you on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram for far too long before we actually met. And getting the chance to introduce you to all of the viewers of Out of the Fog is my absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So I guess the first place we can start is you were the 2022, one of the two winners for 2022 for the Women's Executive Network Top 100 Most Powerful Women in Canada for the social impact and community area. How did that come to be?
Well, that was quite a surprise to get. I was nominated by a colleague through some of my previous community work. I used to be the chair of violence prevention at Avalon East before I took over Equal Voice, and yeah, when I got the call to come up to Toronto in the fall to receive the award, it was quite shocking. It was myself and Angie Clarke were the only Newfoundlanders that year.
Yes.
And yeah, I was in community impact, and it was just really cool to be in a room of over 100 feminist powerhouses and getting to learn about all the cool things that they've done, ideas to bring back to the province. It was absolutely amazing.
Okay. So that was through some of the work you did with violence prevention. So what initiated that kind of work for you, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, well, I am a survivor of violence myself, and when I was going through the system, trying to, just get mental health support, get myself back on track after everything, it was very hard to get through that system, but it was a lot easier for me than it was for others. And when that was something that I picked up on in a group therapy towards the end of my journey, and it was just something that I couldn't go on living knowing that I had these privileges that allowed me to access things way easier than others, but it was still hard for me. So I can't imagine what it would have been like for everyone else. So when I was looking to get more involved, I found Violence Prevention Avalon East, and I started doing some volunteering for them. I ended up becoming the chair. We did some rebranding just before COVID hit, and then when COVID hit, nobody really knew what to do. Nobody had a guidebook on how to handle gender-based violence. Government kept telling us, stay at home, you're safe at home, don't leave. But we knew that there were people who weren't safe at home, who were isolated with their abusers, who were, they'd lost their jobs due to COVID. They weren't able to do their usual things that kept their mental health safe, and there were a lot of people who didn't know how to get away from that. So we didn't have a domestic abuse hotline at the time in the province, so I have some coding experience. I created this thing called Unsafe at Home, which was a online domestic abuse support platform that provided resources with COVID waves to tell you exactly what was available based on what level of lockdown we were in, and we found resources to get care packages out to people isolated with their abusers who had things like PPE withheld from them so they couldn't leave their homes. We were teaching people how to spot signs of abuse. We were telling people, if you feel the pressure that you are going to abuse someone, come to us beforehand and we can help intervene and make sure you're okay. And we took about 100 crisis calls with that program. When we got the domestic abuse hotline and it wasn't really needed anymore, we then switched our focus to all the survivors who we had been talking to. So we created Stable and Safe with Spirit Horse NL, and we were able to actually provide equestrian-based therapy to over 500 survivors of violence.
So we clearly know why you won the award you won, because hearing you tell how you took your pain to create something to support others truly shows that there was no one more deserving of that award than you.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you did, and I'm so glad that the rest of the nation got to see what strength can come out of such a difficult situation.
Thank
now,
you.
moving from that, because you are a woman with very many accolades behind her name, you are also the 2023 NL Human Rights Award winner. How does that feel? Congratulations.
Thank you. That
How
was
does
also
that
a lovely
feel?
surprise. You know, it was fantastic, and quite honestly, I think I was more excited that the person I nominated for the Human Rights Award was shortlisted, and then I found out that I won. I was like, oh, double surprise. One thing I will say about this year's Human Rights Awards winners was that there were a lot of 2S LGBTQIA plus people in the mix, myself included, and it was just so cool to see the great work that folks are doing, especially in a time period where it's very volatile for this community. So that really warmed my heart. And yeah, it was just an honor to be there with so many amazing change makers. And it was one of the first events with the new lieutenant governors. So it was just so lovely. You know, these accolades they're a big honor, but they're a bonus. You know, I remember working with Violence Prevention Avalon East and hitting publish on that domestic abuse hotline or on that support platform and saying, if this helps one person, I've done my job. And it did way more than that. So, and just the amazing people you get to meet through this community work, yourself included. There's just so much talent in this province, and none of these things, I didn't do them alone. You do them in partnership with other community groups, with other community leaders, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without that support network around me.
And taking that support network, you have continued to do amazing things through your work with Equal Voice. What speared that for you?
Well, I was talking to a lot of politicians through violence prevention and a lot of questioning around, like, why aren't we doing policies and procedures this way? Why isn't money going to this place? And it just got to a point where it was like, you know what? I'm kind of over the whole, not fighting, but, you know, advising government. I want to get more people in government. There are great people there already, but like I said, there's so much talent in this province. We need more of that talent at the provincial legislatures, in the House of Assembly, the House of Commons, at the municipal chambers, in the Senate. We need them there. And I eventually want to be in politics, but I want to make sure all these voices are around me first and make sure that the talent that is out in our community realizes their value and what they bring to the table. So for me, Equal Voice was the next best step. It was looking for a new leadership in the province, and I just ran with it.
So with your time in Equal Voice, what have been some of the things that you have helped bring to fruition that you can sit there and say, if I've done nothing else, I'm glad this was accomplished?
You know, there's so many great things that we've done over the last few years. I think the biggest one would be the research we're doing at a national level to help change the way that sexual harassment policies and procedures are happening in legislatures. We spent the last few years doing a lot of research and consultation over the ways in which there are a lot of gaps, making it harder to retain women leaders. So we've actually been able to take that research, go back to the provincial legislatures, the territorial legislatures, and we've actually changed the legislation for a lot of these governments, most notably the Yukon. And believe it or not, Newfoundland and Labrador actually has the most robust legislation around sexual harassment. It is a model in our country. There are things that need to be fixed still, but it's actually light years ahead. And that's mostly because of Equal Voice. Also, our campaign schools, we've done several of them. We've had over 100 women and gender diverse folks go through our campaign schools where we teach about tactical ways to run a perfect election campaign. And we talk about the realities. We don't sugarcoat things that are very much systemic and overt challenges to us, whether it's sexism, racism, ableism. We go into those things and talk about the best ways to cope and still get yourself to an elected position. And in great partnership with municipalities, and now in the 2021 municipal elections, we saw a 10% increase in women elected to municipal government. That is unheard of. Usually it's maybe 2-3% at a good year. 10% is huge. And just building on that momentum, I'm just so excited to see what the next couple of years brings.
I sit here and I listen to you talk about some of the hardships you faced and talk about some of the successes you faced. And I'm continually astounded through any interaction I have with you of how you've managed not just to bridge those two things together, but use it to make a way forward for other people. So with that, I have a question for you. As you sit back now and you look at where you were before and to all the things you've accomplished now, what would you like to say to young Courtney?
I'd like to just say, you know, it's going to be okay. I had a pretty difficult upbringing in terms of self-esteem. I've been through trauma. I've been through, you know, difficult divorces in my family, causing a lot of turmoil, and I had to grow up really quickly. And I would just say thank you for holding on, because I really feel like I didn't start my life. I'm 34. I feel like I never really started my life until 27. And that was, I don't know what it was about when I came out of that trauma therapy program through Eastern Health. They were phenomenal. That made me feel like, you know what, I have one life. I've learned so much and I need to keep going. And just for anyone out there, you know, you can't control everything that happens to you in life, but you can control your actions, your interactions, and your reactions. And it is those three things that make all the difference. And, you know, I don't think I could have gotten to this point today without that lived experience of understanding. So even though those things happened, they've made me a better person. And I want others who are going through those times to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that you can turn it around, and not to be afraid to reach out to ask for help, because I had to reach out to ask for help to start this, and I still reach out for help. So, you know, we're all humans trying our best, and this is me trying my best.
One, your best is fantastic.
Thanks.
So I have you for just about one more minute. So if you want our viewers to know anything, either if they're going through a hard time or if they're supporting someone who's going through difficulties, what would you like to leave them with as a source of inspiration to keep going?
I would say, if it's for other people, meeting them where they're at and just listening. For people who are going through it, there are just some great community organizations out there. The St. John Status of Women Council is one in particular. They have great counseling programs. Surround yourself by just feminists if you're a woman. You know, I found my community, when things are at their hardest, I always have some strong women behind me keeping me upright, and I stand on a lot of shoulders of others. So it's also making sure that you're honoring and thanking the people who help you. And just, you know, we have a lot of doors slammed in our face, whether you're a woman, a person of color, someone with a disability. You know, in terms of intersectionality, we face a lot of challenges, but when we bust down those doors, it is so important that we keep it held open for everyone coming behind us, because we're not going to get through this without one another.
Courtney, I always leave every conversation with you touched, inspired, and just excited to do more. So I want to thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
For being so candid and open and continuing to inspire not just myself, but anyone who gets to watch this episode. It's always a pleasure to have time with you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I love you so much.
You too.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll be right back. I want to give a very special thank you to all my guests for joining me today, as well as thank you to all of you for tuning in. Thank you to Kristen for sharing with us what a cooperative is and how the NLFC is supporting cooperatives here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I want to thank Courtney for joining me as well today, for being so open, sharing her story, and sharing all the great work she's doing within our community to support women and gender diverse individuals, not only in politics, but through every aspect of their lives. I can't wait to see you all next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Email us at comments@rogerstv.com or visit our website.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running.